Hey everybody, this is Rachel at Taylor & Kensington, and I'm bringing you my first wrap-up video for a month. So I'm going to be wrapping up April 2015, and first of all, I'm really excited to be sharing this with you because not only is it my first wrap-up video, but this has definitely been my best reading month probably ever, and I attribute that completely to trying to join BookTube on YouTube here. Even though I don't have a ton of followers yet, I'm still super motivated by watching everybody's videos and having encouraging tweets from people during the Readathon, and it's just been really motivating. So I'm so excited to be joining such an awesome community of readers. So let's go ahead and jump into all of the reads I got through in April. The first book that I read in April was a reread. I've read this before, but several books that I had read so far this year in 2015 really made me think about this book. It kept coming up, and I just really had the urge to reread it. So I went ahead and picked up Stolen by Lucy Christopher. And if you haven't read this yet, you really need to. I think it's a really underhyped book. Not many people have heard about it. Not many people have read it either, and I think it's just so interesting. It makes you think about what you would do in that scenario. You really get into the characters, I feel like, and by the end of the book, you're really invested in it. I gave this a 5 out of 5 on Goodreads because I just love this book. It's about this girl who is at an airport and is drugged and stolen, thus the title. He puts her in an airplane and takes her to the middle of the desert in Australia, and the whole book pretty much takes place there. And the whole book is a letter from her to this captor, and you watch their relationship develop. And by relationship, I just mean the way they interact with each other. Of course, when she first realizes what's happened, she's upset, and throughout the whole book, of course, she's trying to escape. But at some point, things kind of shift, and I wouldn't say that she loves him. There's not like a romantic, necessarily, relationship, but she starts to kind of see more of him than just being a captor. And I thought that was the most interesting part of this book, that you see another side besides just the bad guy. And I love stories like that, where they make their bad characters kind of likable, because that's just such a dynamic way to create a character, because people are really like that. Most people aren't just bad or just good. They have both qualities. So I really like that about this book. I won't really give away the ending in case you want to read it, because you should read this, but it was really good, and I enjoyed it even more this time than I did the last time. I will definitely probably reread this again in the future because I just love this book. Lucy Christopher, I think, has another book, like The Killing Woods, I think, maybe, which I'm hoping to pick up here soon. I borrowed it from the library, so hopefully maybe in May I can read that one and let you know if it's as good. Next book that I read this month was kind of a combination of audiobook and the actual reading book, and I reviewed this one earlier this month. This was my first and only so far video review, and that is In the Heart of the Sea, The Tragedy of the Whale Ship Essex by Nathaniel Philbrick. If you want to know more about this book, you can check out my review of this book on my channel, and I'll link it down below so you can go straight to it. I thought this was a pretty good book. It was a little bit boring in some parts, and I would highly recommend you read the book and not listen to the audio because it was kind of hard to follow on the audio, but very good. It's really inspired me to maybe read Moby Dick here, hopefully in 2015. And yeah, it was pretty good. I think I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. The next book that I picked up in April was a graphic novel. I'm not a huge graphic novel fan, but having watched a lot of people on BookTube talk about graphic novels, that's been one of my goals this year, is to try to incorporate a few more graphic novels here and there. And right now I'm really just working on trying to find ones that I enjoy, maybe a theme or an author or an artist or some way to get into graphic novels. So if you have any recommendations for graphic novels, go ahead and leave that in the comment below and I'll definitely check it out. But I started with one that I was kind of familiar with because I really wasn't sure where to start. So I picked up Dexter by Jeff Lindsay. I did not like this. I'm not a graphic novel person, and that's really all this was. I mean, the art was pretty cool. You know, there's color pages. I just didn't get into it. I mean, I was a huge Dexter fan, so I thought maybe I'd like it. I don't know. I'm not really a graphic novel type of person, but I did read this one. I'm not going to let this stop me from graphic novels. If you are a graphic novel person, you may like this, so please don't let me stop you from reading it, but it just wasn't for me. So I read it. I will try again with another graphic novel. we'll see. I think I gave this either a 1 or a 2 out of 5 on Goodreads. But if you've read this, let me know. I don't know. The next book I read was another reread, and that is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I had a student that was interested in this and really wanted me to read it with her. So I did. I picked it up, I read it again. It was kind of interesting because I'd seen the movie since I'd read it last, and there was a lot of things that aren't in the movie, so it was kind of nice to refresh myself with this book and kind of get back into the voice of Katniss from the book point of view instead of the movie point of view. Almost everybody's read this book. If you haven't yet, what's wrong with you? Go read it. But it was pretty good. I think I gave it probably 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I had the same opinion as I did the last time. It was a very interesting read. You really want to get to the end. You want to see what happens, obviously, to them. You're rooting for them. But I had a very hard time the first time, and even this time, reading through these because it's just, the fact that these kids are going to kill each other is just so, wow. It's intense. I had a hard time reading this the first time because of that plot line. Obviously, it's really important to this book, but it's hard to get through. So I reread The Hunger Games, and I plan on rereading like the whole series this year because I haven't read the last one yet. So I thought this was a great start to get into that series this month. So we read this one. Next book that I read mostly as an audiobook in my car on the way to and from work every day, and that is Second Chance by James Patterson. I believe the first one was First Degree, and I think I read that last year, so I wanted to get back into these because between me and my mom, we own most of this series. The special part about this series is that it's centered around this group of women who solve crimes. They each play a pivotal role in the justice system. One of them is a detective, one of them is the forensic person, one of them is an attorney, and one of them is a journalist. So they all kind of work together and piece together what they have to help each other solve crimes. And this one revolved around a serial killer that was hunting down different people with connections to policemen. And I'm not going to give away too much of the plot, but it was pretty interesting. I didn't really see the ending coming, so it was a pretty good mystery. So if you need something new to read, you can check out this series. There's quite a few out, and they're pretty good to read. They're pretty easy to get through. I think I gave this a 3 out of 5 on Goodreads. It was a good mystery. The next book I picked up was another graphic novel. As I said, I'm trying to get into this genre, this type of book. So I'm just kind of picking up any that I see that might interest me to try to get a feel out for what I'd like. This one is called Hidden, and it is by, I'm probably going to butcher this name, Dewey. See for yourself there. Yeah. I'm not sure. But it's kind of in the same vein as the Mouse books. It's told from a children's perspective, though. The little girl here that you see on the cover is who you follow through this little graphic novel, and it's basically her take on what happens in the Holocaust. She's being hid throughout so that she doesn't have to go to the concentration camps. And the pictures are really, they're not spectacular, but I feel like they tell most of the story, which is, I guess, the whole point of a graphic novel. But it was okay. I didn't think this was as good as Mouse was. So if you're looking for a Holocaust graphic novel, I would definitely stick with this one. However, if you have a young child or someone you're trying to introduce the Holocaust to, this might be good for a younger child because it hints at what's happening, but it doesn't really come out exactly and say what's happening. So maybe as an introduction, this would be good. But as an adult, I didn't find this as interesting as I did with Mouse. So I think I gave this either a 2 or a 3 out of 5 on Goodreads. This book that I read this one as part of a readathon this month, and that was Sanctum by Madeline Rue. I thought this was okay. This was a sequel, obviously, to the first one, which was called Asylum, and I thought this was kind of redundant from the first one. It was good. I read it. It was entertaining, but it wasn't anything particularly special, so I gave it a 3 out of 5 on Goodreads. The next one I also read as part of the readathon, and again, it's in the graphic novel arena, and that is The Gigantic Beard That Was Evil. I read this one pretty quickly. I wasn't a huge fan. I love the illustrations. The illustrations of this were amazing. They were like pencil drawings, and they just have like different. Every page was different, and I love that. When you turn the page, you didn't really know what to expect graphically, and I liked that. I liked that a lot of times it fell into a really nice rhyme, and the writing was amazing. However, I'm not quite sure I was sold on the story. I didn't really get it. I feel like there was a moral in there, but you're left not really sure what that is. I mentioned that in my wrap-up video for the Readathon. And again, if you read this, let's chat. Let's see. I'd love to hear what you think this is about. But if you're interested, pick it up. It's a really cool title, really cool idea. I love the illustrations, liked the writing, wasn't crazy about the ending. But I got that read. The next one I also read for the Readathon, and that is The Body in the Library by Agatha Christie. Once again, I wasn't quite sure how I felt about this one. It was alright. I know Agatha Christie is a really famous author with the mystery, and it was alright. I was kind of interested in who did it, but I wasn't crazy about it. I had a really hard time finishing this for the Readathon because it just wasn't as exciting as I'd hoped it would be. It wasn't exactly what I'd hoped. I'm definitely not giving up on Agatha Christie. I'm hoping to maybe read another one this year just to see how it goes. But I think I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Kind of a trend this month. Everything was kind of, alright. The next one I read because it was Poetry Month and I hadn't read these in a while and I really wanted to, and that's some Shel Silverstein. I picked up Falling Up. I plan on reading a few more this month of his books just because they're fun. If you've not read Shel Silverstein yet, you absolutely need to. There are illustrations along with poems, and they're just really cute little rhymes. Some of them have a moral, some of them are just kind of funny, but they all have little pictures to go with them, and most of them are really cute. It's a really easy read to get through, and I think they're just really creative. I hadn't read a book of poems in a long time, so I was pretty excited. I think I gave this a 3 or 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and again, if you haven't read Shel Silverstein yet, go read them now. This would be great to read with your kids as well. When I was a kid, I loved these books. So go ahead and pick that one up if you need a good read. And the last one I just finished yesterday, and I'm kind of surprised I hadn't read this before, but I had not. And I read most of it as an audiobook, but I did read some of it to myself, especially towards the end when I was really excited to finish it. And that is Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. I loved this book. I found her being the author obviously kind of annoying at some points because it kind of just seems like, I don't know, I'm sure she was depressed, I'm sure that was a real thing, but the voice at the beginning just seems kind of annoying. That's so mean to say, but it was. She herself seemed a little bit annoying, but her journey is amazing, and she makes you fall in love with these places. And even though sometimes her voice is annoying, her writing is amazing. I love how she would explain situations. I loved following through her journey. I really did. Once she got to Italy, I liked her a lot better. I think just the beginning when she was probably depressed, obviously you don't really want to hang around a depressed person because it's kind of depressing. So maybe that was it. I'm not sure. But I loved this book. I thought it was really, really good. I think I gave this either a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I would definitely recommend this if you have not read it. It makes me want to eat, pray, love this summer. I'm not going to, of course, because I'm going to probably be around the house. But I would totally love to do this. Go to Italy, go to India, and then go to Bali. It just sounds amazing. And I love her experience. And I love that it made me think about how I thought of some of these things, how I interact with people, how I take in what they do to me. I love just how it made me consider the world around me. It gave me a new perspective on things, and I could tell it even just changed the way I encountered things throughout the day. And I love that about books, when they leave you as a different person than before you picked them up. So if you have not read this one yet, please do, and let me know what you think. If you have read it, also let me know what you think. I thought this was amazing. I know she's got another book, at least, well, she's got several, but the next one I think that kind of goes with this is Commitment. So if you've read Commitment and you would like to share your ideas and your thoughts on that, please leave it in the comments below because I might be interested in reading it. I'm just not sure how I feel about it yet. This is my TBR list for April. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 books for April. That's the best I've ever done, and I'm super excited about it. Now, looking ahead to my TBR for May, I'm going to be participating in 2 readathons this month, and I'm pretty excited because those readathons really get me motivated. The first one is this month, next week, and it is going to be a rereadathon / the hashtag yearathon reread. I think that's actually 2 separate readathons, but it's basically the same thing. You're rereading your favorite books. So if you're joining in, please let me know what you're going to be reading, and you should be checking back to my channel this weekend sometime for my TBR for next week with the rereads. Then the next week, I'm going to be participating in the Battle of Books readathon, so I'm going to have a TBR for that. So instead of telling you all the books I want to read in May, I'm going to have little updates throughout the month. So please check back and see what I'm going to be reading. So I'm excited. I'm hoping to outdo myself. I'm not sure I can top 11 books, but I'm going to try this month. I'm really excited about it. So thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions for me, leave them down below or leave them on my blog or tweet me. And yeah, I'll be back probably this weekend with my TBR for next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.